Hi, and welcome to Two Tired Teachers.
We are coming at you from Caprock Canyons Trailway. And a couple of things we want to say about the trailway. One is it doesn't actually, there's no access point within the state park.
Yes.
It's the overseeing and the managing is through the state park system and the Caprock Canyon. The closest access point is 3 miles.
Yes, and
out.
it's the railway to trailway, part of that project, like the Mickelson Trail was.
And this is a very long stretch.
I think there are 60 miles of trails.
This is a 64-mile long multi-purpose trailway. And there are 7 access points.
Yes.
One is in the town of Quitaque, which is basically where the state park is. It's just 3 miles from the state park.
Some of them are much easier to find than others.
And this section is the Monk's Crossing. And by the way, you do need to pay the day use fee to ride the trail, and you'll need to go to the state park to do that. But if you want to ride the trailway, you need to ask specifically for the trailway map.
Yes.
And they will give that to you. And at that Monk's Crossing, you're going to have about 4 miles, 4 miles, where it is just straight and nothing before you come to that first curve. Then the scenery picks up tremendously.
After that, it is wonderful, both on the sides and looking out over the canyon on either side.
You really get down, more canyon-like experiences. But I got to tell you, as we were riding this, it's one of the places that I've been that truly makes me stop and think about the trains that went through this area. And passenger trains, or
this track was laid in the 1800s, late 1800s, and it ran until the 70s, I think.
And one of the big draws to the Monk's Crossing access area is the tunnel. And it does look pitch black as you're approaching it. I will tell you, at the months of, I believe it is
April through October.
Yeah, April through October, there are Mexican free-tail bats that call this home.
We were there in March. And
Yeah,
there
early
were
March.
No bats.
Early March. And
but there is evidence of bats. You could smell the guano.
I was glad we had headlights on our
Yes.
bikes, but we rode in just a short way. There's a lot of sand. I am assuming that's to help cut down on the guano.
And on the noise.
And the noise, and during the time that the bats are there, you do need to walk quietly and kicking up as little dust, etc.
Yeah,
as
and
possible.
if you have a flashlight, keep it trained toward the ground and not toward the bats.
And I do want to say that in that tunnel, it looks pitch black as you're going in, but before it gets dark behind you, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. But after the tunnel, I was so glad we kept riding.
Oh, I am too.
We rode from the Monk's Crossing, whatever that is, trailhead. We rode 6 miles out. Now, get ready, because you are going to see at over 1,500 miles, right in this section, I was riding along, realized I was in a rut, and there was a big rock, and that was my first face plant on my rad. As you can see, the bike was not hurt, I was not hurt, the GoPro was not hurt, so it was all good. But
I had told her it's not that much fun to fall, but she insisted on trying it out herself.
But I gotta tell you, what you can't see off to the sides here is we really are riding through some tunnel area. And it's just, it was a beautiful ride after that first 3.5 to 4 miles.
Yeah.
The scenery on this part picked up tremendously. And it is an interpretive trail.
Yes.
There are placards along, but they are not very often.
things you need to know before you ride this trail. One is carry in water. If you're going while the bats are there, it's suggested you wear a hat and long sleeves.
Yeah, you don't want to be at least 4 miles from anything and have bats give you a little gift that would keep on giving.
And in the summer, it says rattlesnakes are common.
Yeah, it was chilly the day we rode. We rode, like I said, this was early March. It was really very comfortable.
Yes.
The day that we were riding this section.
And we both commented, I wouldn't want to come here in the summer.
And this was a very well used section.
Yes.
There were a number of vehicles at the trailhead where we parked. We passed a bike club coming the other direction. There were some people walking. They'd walked over past the tunnel.
Yes.
And this section we saw quite a few people using it.
It's like Sharon said earlier, this is one of the more popular sections because of the tunnel.
But the information that they give you from the ranger station there at the state park, on the back of it, it tells you different sections, how far the different sections are, and estimated time that it will take you if you're hiking it, if you're biking it, or if you are riding a horse. Which, while we were at Caprock Canyon at the state park, we stayed in an equestrian site, and there were people there who had brought horses. There are equestrian trails within the state park as well as coming out to this one. But it is such a massive trail. It really is, and it was beautiful. I was so glad that we took advantage of the time that we were there.
Too. We wanted to ride the trailway.
And there, you can get like backcountry camping permits.
Yes.
And
I think that we thought the bike club had probably camped.
But we're not certain. There are some vault toilets along the way. The map that you get of the trailway will show you where there is camping, where there are vault toilets, and where there may be access to water. And the information as you're going in tells you that water is not guaranteed.
Yes, and when we loved Caprock Canyons, but when we were there, the water, because of the
hard freeze in 2021.
Yes, and the ice and all, they'd had a main break, and the water was not potable, not drinkable.
But they let us know in time. Before we got there, we actually were at a pilot station and filled up our fresh water tank. Since we were staying in the equestrian site, they did not have water necessarily at the site anyway. But they do have water in the campground.
Yes.
We do have a video about Caprock Canyon State Park. It's truly one of our favorites because of the huge bison herd that just roams wherever it wants to.
And there was evidence that bison had been
on the
out on the
trailway.
trailway.
I did not grow up on a farm, but I've helped some folks that are on farms enough to know that wasn't just a cow that had been there. But this was a beautiful, easy section to ride.
Yes.
The only time we needed to get off and walk at all was through the tunnel.
Yeah.
But it was
in a little where you.
Yeah, there was where the ruts were really deep, and there are just a couple of places where it's kind of washed over, and if those ruts are very deep, you do want to get off and walk just a bit there. But this section was absolutely gorgeous. And the next section we went to was just out past Turkey.
Yes.
And we chose to, when we got to the trailhead, we chose to ride toward the Grundy Canyon Trail part. This section, we had thought we'd ride 6 miles out again. That was our goal. But you can see this
was a hard ride.
The rocks, it's not just that small gravel. No. This is a lot larger gravel. It was a much rougher ride.
Yes.
This grass was actually about 4 inches high that's actually on the trail, so your feet are touching it as they come down. You get a few little smooth sections, and I'll be honest, I didn't reach up and turn the camera on and off as much because I needed to hold on. I mean, it was a very rough, bumpy ride, and I think we ultimately made it 2 miles, 2.5,
3.
3 miles out maybe. But this is one of the interpretive overlooks, and you can see, I'm glad we went toward the canyon side. This was a beautiful overlook, and we did see things like that, but you can see the trail here is not nearly as well used.
We saw no one on it.
Yeah, there was no one else parked at the trailhead that we were at, and we didn't pass anyone. It was close enough to the road. There's a highway that runs kind of parallel that occasionally we would hear a car or something, but let's face it, that highway's not that well used either. But it was a great time, and I'm so glad we got out there and rode it.
I am too.
And we hope you've enjoyed our look at the Caprock Canyon State Park Trailway. Thanks for watching
Two Tired Teachers.